We're all super excited to finally see the newest generation of Raptor engines, also V3, take flight today.
I love that view looking up under the Super Heavy. Now, Raptor and Starship version 3 are designed to enable us to send payloads and eventually people all the way to the moon and Mars.
Yeah, and in the meantime, we're planning to put Starship to work on future flights by launching bigger and more powerful Starlink version 3 satellites, which aim to substantially increase capacity in orbit, strengthen the network, and deliver an improved experience for customers.
Now, turning our attention back to today, our primary objective for Flight 12 is to put these new redesigns all together in a real live flight environment. From the outside, a lot might look familiar on Starship, but beneath the surface, it's all new. As we've said before, Starship is still
overly conservative, but we made him fit it back down to
frequency transmission. But this new, we're excited the Earth and the
ships
like working.
So yeah, SpaceX's future in Florida
Considers for humankind to the stars. I mean, they really some of those skills we're going to need.
All of the propellant that's in those lines running from the farm up to the launch mount, just kind of harden the area and get it ready for launch. We're going to peek inside, hopefully see the engines do a little wiggle as we do our final steering check. That'll happen at T-minus 100 seconds, and then after we get through T-minus 40. If you tuned in yesterday, you're very
vent gate will clear the
gates. We still have the ability to rapidly recycle the count under certain conditions back to T-minus 40 seconds.
Looks like we might be getting some engine wiggles here, as Dan mentioned earlier. These allow us to check out the thrust vector control actuators on these engines. It's important to make sure that they can steer.
Yeah, that's definitely right. And flame diverter on pad 2 activates at around T-minus 17 seconds and enters what is essentially the point of no return at T-minus 10 seconds. If we have a hold close to T-minus 17 seconds, there's a chance we could recycle, but the closer we get to T-minus 10, the lower that chance becomes. We just heard we're at T-minus 1 minute.
Yeah, so at this point in time, we're going to stop talking. We're going to let the rocket take over and listen to some amazing pad sounds of the first flight of Starship version 3.
All right, we are holding. We were just waiting for the fuel pushbacks to complete into the prop farm. We did hear that that did just complete, so expecting them to reset that hold shortly. Clock, the hold is reset, clock is rolling.
Flight directors go for launch. Minus 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, ignition. We have liftoff.
Pitch you downrange.
Booster Raptor, chamber pressure nominal.
All right, we are T-plus 30 seconds into flight, seeing 33 out of 33 Raptor 3 engines on booster V3, ascending over the Gulf now, coming up on maximum aerodynamic pressure.
Booster and ship, avionics power, telemetry nominal.
Systems looking good. We're just passing through the period of maximum dynamic pressure. A little over a minute into flight now. Vibrations chilling out here at Star Factory as we continue to watch Starship Flight 12 arc out over the Gulf. The next major thing coming up is going to be hot staging.
Booster prop systems nominal.
Reminder, we do what's our version of MECO. Most engines cut off, so we're going to shut down all but 5 of the Raptor engines on the booster. And then after that happens, we're going to ignite the 6 engines on ship while it is still attached. We have clamps that hold the 2 together. Those are going to retract inside of that hot stage ring, kind of protect them. Looks like we had one of the engines go out, still flying on 32 of the Raptor engines. But again, once we get the hot staging, those 6 engines on the ship are going to ignite. We're going to do it in a little bit different of a sequence on version 3. Essentially, those 3 RVAC engines will ignite first. Almost immediately after, just one of those central engines is going to ignite, and that's going to give the booster a bit of a kick, sending it in a known direction, followed shortly after by the other 2. We're through MECO.
Each separation.
There you go, successful hot staging separation. We are not seeing as many booster engines ignite as we expected for boost back, but we are seeing 6 good engines lit on ship. It looks like we just had an early boost back shutdown. Again, a reminder, the booster was planned to essentially head into the Gulf for a splashdown, but it has shut its engines down early on into boost back. And we just see one of the RVAC, so we're now running on 5 engines on ship. We do have engine out capability, so it's going to continue into its ascent. You got booster on the left there, ship on the right.
Ship avionics power and telemetry
Again, we are
nominal.
not planning on bringing the booster back for this flight, as this was the very first time. All right, so we're about 3 minutes, 50 seconds into today's flight. Just a reminder that the ship planned to burn its engines for about 8 minutes and change. About 8 minutes and 11 seconds was our planned timeline for today. That could shift slightly as we do have 1 engine out running on 1 fewer RVACs. Again, continuing to watch. So booster did not complete its boost back burn. We would not see all of the engines ignite that we expected. Are continuing to get some views from it, though. That's going to make a splashdown somewhere in the Gulf. Reminder, we clear air, sea space, everything for these launches. All right, so we are coming up on T plus 5 minutes. Ship continuing to fire 5 of the 6. Standing by for callouts, making sure ship's on its planned trajectory. Again, we are planning a suborbital trajectory for the ship today. Booster giving us some views as it continues to make its way back down towards the water. All right, so a little over 5.5 minutes in flight. Kate, Jake, you guys with me? It looks like booster's starting to come in hot.
Yeah, we had the opportunity to stand outside to watch launch, and wow, that was incredible.
Yeah, that was really loud, really shaky, and I was actually surprised how fast the booster got off the pad, or the whole stack. That was quite incredible.
Absolutely. So we have views here from the booster coming back down, making its way into the Gulf. Pretty cool to see.
We have healthy chamber pressures on 5 out of 6 ship Raptor engines.
Great news there
Landing
for
startup.
Starship. Once again, we were not going to bring the super heavy booster back to the tower. We were planning on having it land in the Gulf.
And it looks like the booster ended its mission there in the Gulf, but we've got a ship still flying. Great to see that. Still have 5 out of 6 engines there on S39.
Yes, we also heard good chamber pressures as well on those engines that are lit. We do have engine out capability. We do see that we have one of the RVAC, one of the Raptor vacuum engines that is currently out, but that's okay. Ship is continuing on. Amazing views of planet Earth there in the background.
Yeah, I love the S39 decal there. That just gives the ship a little bit of character. And again, all these great views brought to you by Starlink, of course.
Yeah, obligatory shout out to the entire Starship avionics, camera, electronics team. Did a whole lot of work to get these upgraded cameras. A look inside of the ship skirt, you can see those 3 center engines ignited. The RVAC's continuing to fire as well. We did see at least a couple engines fire up on booster for that landing burn before we lost contact with it. We should have just a little over 20 seconds to go. We'll see if the burn extends a little bit. For the engine out, essentially you can run your engines a little bit longer or throttle up a little bit more to account for the one engine not being lit. So right now we are standing by for SECO. And again, we are continuing to go a little bit longer. Five engines still burning on ship. We are coming up on T plus 9 minutes. And starting to see shutdown. RVACs have shut down. Sea levels have shut down. Seeing if we can get an update on the ship orbit insertion, but we have shut down again. We did run longer as we were engine out. We were flying with 5 of those 6 Raptors pretty much the whole time.
Ship FTS is saved.
All right, well, we definitely got a ship in space right now.
As you can see, the teams are incredibly excited to see Starship there in space. We are awaiting the call out of nominal insertion, so we're going to stand by for that. We can see the flaps moving here, actuating, but wow, the cheers here in the lobby are certainly almost as loud as liftoff was.
Yeah. Man, a lot of action going on, and you know, we said at the top of the show, excitement guaranteed, and we're only 11 minutes in. We still have a lot more to go here on the mission today. So all objectives are done on the booster, so now all eyes are on the ship as we get ready for our in-space objectives.
Exactly. So like I said, we're still standing by to hear the call out for nominal orbital insertion, but we've got a few minutes before the next milestone. So we're going to continue. We've got some amazing views here of the ship. Wow, it's just that this is our planet. This is our home. As a reminder, the objectives for Ship today not only included the separation that we saw, but we're also planning to deploy 20 Starlink simulator satellites, as well as 2 Dodger Dog satellites. That's what our internal teams refer to as our newer satellites. We saw a preview of those earlier. We should see those deployments here in a little bit. We're also hoping to perform a relight of a Raptor engine as well.
Yep, that's exactly right. And the relight will look a little bit different this time. We're hoping to get a little bit of a longer duration. Of course, we got to see once we get there. And that relight won't actually be changing our orbit necessarily, but we're doing it more so as a technology demonstration.
For those of you that maybe just recently tuned in, you missed a pretty exciting almost 13 minutes. We had a liftoff pretty much on time, almost right exactly at 5:30 p.m. We did have a brief hold at the T-minus 40-second period, but we were able to proceed through that, and we saw a gorgeous liftoff. Jake and I were able to stand outside and witness that with all of our colleagues, and what a moment. I'll tell you what, it is a heck of a lot louder out here than it was at Ad Astra.
Absolutely. And a couple things I noticed on the way uphill today on the ship. So obviously it looks like we lost one of the RVACs on the way, but that is a good way to demonstrate our potential engine out capability there. So
exactly.
I think we actually saw the 3 gimbaling engines kind of gimbal over a little bit to compensate for that offset and thrust. So that was really cool. That's something I know the team's been, we've analyzed that since Flight 1 all the way back. So it's something that we've thought about quite a bit, and it was kind of cool to see it in action in real life today.
Yeah, absolutely. If you couldn't tell, Jake is on the Raptor team.
Yeah. But one non-Raptor thing I noticed also back on the when we had the shot of the aft flaps, it's a little weird. We have tiles on the leeward side, so not on the side where we're going to see heating. And you might be asking, why are we putting tiles there? I had the same question actually. So I talked to some of our heat shield engineers the other day, and we're actually running. Yeah, here's the shot right here. Great. So the fact that we're seeing all these tiles still on the flap right now is really good, because that actually was one of our experiments where we wanted to test different connection methods on the way uphill on ship, so actually ascent. So it looks like most, if not all, the tiles are still hanging on there, so that's actually a really good data point.
Looks pretty good to me.
Analyzed if we were down, can't see everything kind of on the underbelly and previous Starship flight tests. So first 2 out the door, 2 more on their way out. All right, 4 down, 18 to go. Flexing my basic math skills here today. Again, the majority of this stack, 20 of these 22 satellites, they're essentially just mass simulators, so they're roughly the same size as those Starlink V3 sats that we're hoping to fly later this year. And from this top-down view, so you're looking down at the stack, those 2 satellites you see on the very top, that they'll look very different. They've got solar arrays. They've got a bunch of other deployables on them that we're going to be testing out that are way out. Starships are Dodger Dog. We're coming up right on the part of the timeline. Raptor engines got through a successful hot staging. Initially lit those Starlink mass simulators.
Falcon.
And then it to look back and image.
That, of course, will have the atmospheric.
for a while, so really cool.
To build up on the exterior through the
Point
up in the limits. On the last flight, we even had basically a hole get
Heating region.
those heat shield tiles there, precise landing in the Indian Ocean.
Yep, that is just a really cool, kind of cool piece of perspective there. I know some people say it makes them a little seasick, but I definitely love it. It makes it feel like you're really riding along with the ship on the way down.
Yeah, and aside from just looking cool, all these camera views providing just really critical data on how the heat shield, how the flaps themselves are holding up. That's why we've got these in the flaps and then all scattered all around the ship so you can see how they hold up. There's some internal to the vehicle too and we're getting all of this video back via Starlink. Even as we're just enshrouded in plasma, we're able to kind of operate at a high enough frequency to punch through, and that is blue ocean and sunlight you're seeing just beyond the flaps. So we are coming down into daylight, hopefully splashing down in the next 6 minutes or so in the Indian Ocean. We've still got a couple maneuvers lined up where we're going to be really stressing the flaps on the ship. So
Ship has passed through the peak heating region. External temperatures are coming down.
Wow, that is incredible news. As Dan mentioned, we were expecting this reentry to be super spicy, but excellent news that we're now past that period of peak heating and that now the external temperatures are starting to decrease. Those heat shield tiles there on the belly of the ship really doing a ton of work to burn off all of that inertia that the vehicle had prior to re-entering the atmosphere.
Yeah, and you can tell by the G meter down on the bottom right that we're starting to pick up a couple more Gs here, so we're definitely entering the thicker part of the atmosphere where we're fast.
hopefully we've got
Ship is starting the RTLS banking maneuver.
We want to test out these maneuvers, these principles prior to the crowd. We want to test out these maneuvers, these principles prior to actually bringing the hardware back to the pad. This is the same reason why we were intentionally not trying to bring the booster back to the pad. So we're trying all these things out in this developmental phase of the vehicle and really proving what a test flight is.
Absolutely.
Dynamic pressure is coming down.
All right, we heard there dynamic pressure coming down, and I'd say we're in a pretty good bank right now.
Yeah, executing the power slide. We're about 90 seconds away from our anticipated landing burn. Clouds coming up, pretty sunrise on the other side of the planet.
Starship is subsonic and is on target.
The crowd here reacting to that call out, letting us know that we are on target for this precise landing in the Indian Ocean. This will once again be a soft splashdown. We should get some pretty cool views from the recovery team who we chatted with earlier. They are standing by to receive this ship. Once again, this is the first flight of our completely redesigned Starship version 3.
Yeah, and if you remember the suborbital flights from a few years ago, this is very much the same regime that we're in here. So we're sub 15 kilometers executing what we call the belly flip maneuver.
Yes, serial number 8, the first belly flop. I remember it well. Just some really amazing views of the Earth as the ship is coming back home. Thanks, Starlink.
Yeah, you can see the aft flap there making minor corrections.
Starship is turning for final approach to landing site.
Look at that turn.
There we go. Minor corrections and a full turn.
Yeah, Starship doesn't fly like an airplane. It's a lot more like a skydiver. Full belly flop on the way down, using those flaps similar to arms to help change the path of the air over you. Coming up real soon. Again, going for a landing burn, trying to light 2 of these Raptor sea level engines.
Landing burn startup.
Landing burn startup. 2 engines lit. Successful flip. Buoy cam
Starship is
catching
landed.
it.
Good shut time.
Amazing. That ball of fire is exactly what we wanted to see for the ship today. As weird as it may sound to hear, but it is the truth.
Absolutely wild. At the beginning of the show,
We're pretty hyped.
we guaranteed excitement at the beginning of the show, and I'd say Starship delivered.
Absolutely. An incredible day for Starship. That was the first flight of that completely redesigned vehicle. As you can tell, the teams are incredibly proud of what we just saw.
Yeah, V3 definitely showed up. That was amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've pretty happy crowd in the control room behind me, I will say. It's probably the most excited I've seen a lot of people in a really long time. On target landing. Wow. Actually, let's jump over. Hey, Tyler, how's everyone holding up in Hawthorne?
We're having a great time, Dan. Thank you so much. That was another exciting Starship flight in the books, and we hope that you enjoyed those awesome Starlink views. So congratulations to the team at Starbase and everyone here and around the company. So many employees have contributed to the Starship program as we continue to iterate and make progress towards a multi-planetary future. So that wraps it up for us here in Hawthorne. Thank you guys for tuning in, and back to you, Dan.
All right, thanks. So just to recap, we lifted off right at the top of our window, 5:30 p.m. Central Time. We were able to see the booster light 33 of those Raptor engines get off the pad and ascent over the Gulf. Successful hot stage separation. Initially lit 6 of those Raptor engines, lost one of the RVACs on the way uphill, and then the booster didn't complete its full boost back. Its mission ended a little bit early, but landed in the clear area that we had set in advance. Once we were on orbit with ship, we were able to get through our payload deployment, 22 satellites, the 20 simulators, the 2 Dodger dogs, which successfully turned on cameras. We'll see if we got any more views from those. So obviously stick around. Skipped the Raptor relight, but made it through re-entry on target landing in the Indian Ocean. You saw those views. Starship made it. It's been a long time coming. We're really excited to see this vehicle fly, and there are several more on the way. So that's going to do it for me up here. Send it back down to Kate and Jake and everybody who I hope is at least a little bit excited down in Star Factory.
Oh, yeah. It is absolutely insane. Have a great night.